If you are a UK state pensioner and you still walk up to any cash machine without thinking twice, this video could save you hundreds of pounds. Every single day, thousands of pensioners across Britain lose money at ATMs, not because they did anything foolish, but because nobody ever explained the real rules banks now use to protect, and sometimes restrict, cash withdrawals for people over state pension age. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what your bank can and cannot do, how to avoid being flagged, blocked, or targeted by fraudsters, and how to get your cash quickly without any nasty surprises. Let's start with the basic truth that most pensioners are never told clearly. There is no specific law in the United Kingdom that sets a different ATM withdrawal limit purely because someone receives the state pension. Your pension itself is not restricted, capped, or reduced by how you choose to withdraw your own money. However, individual banks have their own internal fraud prevention systems, and these systems increasingly pay closer attention to older customers simply because older customers are statistically more likely to be targeted by scammers. This means that while the rules are not written into pension law, they very much exist inside your bank's software, and they can absolutely affect you at the machine. Here is what that looks like in practice. Most high street banks set a daily cash withdrawal limit on debit cards, and for many basic or standard current accounts, this sits somewhere between £250 and £500 per day. Some basic bank accounts, which many pensioners use because they come with lower fees, can have even lower daily limits. If you try to withdraw more than your card's daily limit, the ATM will simply decline the transaction, even if you have thousands of pounds sitting in your account. This is not a fault with the machine, and it is not the bank trying to punish you. It is a built-in ceiling designed to limit losses if a card is ever lost, stolen, or used under pressure by a scammer. Now, here is the part that catches so many pensioners off guard. If you attempt a large withdrawal, particularly anything that looks unusual compared with your normal spending pattern, your bank's fraud monitoring system may flag the transaction automatically. This can mean your card gets temporarily frozen at the machine, your online banking gets locked, or you receive an urgent phone call or text asking you to confirm the withdrawal was genuinely made by you. This is not a malfunction. Banks have significantly increased this kind of monitoring in the last couple of years because of the rise in what is called authorized push payment fraud and courier fraud, where a criminal convinces an elderly person to withdraw a large sum of cash and hand it over, often pretending to be from the police, the bank itself, or a government department. If this happens to you, do not panic and do not assume you have done something wrong. The correct response is to call your bank directly using the number printed on the back of your card, never a number given to you by someone who contacted you first, and confirm the transaction was genuine. Once verified, most banks will release the hold within minutes, or at most a few hours. Knowing this in advance means you will not be caught off guard, and more importantly, you will not be tempted to hand your card or PIN to a stranger claiming they need to help you sort it out. That request, by the way, is 100% of the time a scam. No genuine bank employee, police officer, or government official will ever ask you for your PIN or ask you to withdraw cash and hand it to a courier. Let's talk about something else that changed recently, and that directly affects how pensioners manage money day to day, which is contactless payment limits. For years, the contactless tap limit in the UK sat at £100 per transaction. As of March 2026, the Financial Conduct Authority gave banks and card providers the flexibility to set their own contactless limits, rather than being tied to that fixed £100 ceiling. In practice, most banks are moving cautiously, and many have not changed their limits immediately. But this means you should check your own banking app or ask your branch what your current contactless limit actually is, because it may no longer match what you remember. If you prefer more control, most banks will let you set your own personal contactless limit lower than the maximum, or switch contactless off on your card entirely if you would rather always enter your PIN. For many pensioners who worry about a card being used without their knowledge, This is a simple and completely free way to add an extra layer of protection. Now, back to ATMs specifically, because there are a few practical rules every pensioner should know before their next visit to the cash machine. First, always use ATMs attached to or located inside a bank branch, a well-lit supermarket, or a post office wherever possible. Standalone ATMs on quiet streets, especially ones charging a withdrawal fee, are more likely to be targeted for card skimming devices, which are small pieces of equipment fraudsters attach to the card slot to copy your card details. Before inserting your card, give the card slot a gentle wiggle. If it feels loose, moves, or looks like it has been tampered with in any way, do not use that machine and report it to the branch or the shop straight away. Second, always shield the keypad with your free hand while entering your PIN. This sounds like basic advice, but it remains one of the most effective ways to prevent what is called shoulder surfing, where someone nearby watches you enter your PIN and then either steals your card through distraction or picks your pocket shortly afterwards. Criminals specifically target pensioners at ATMs because they know older customers are less likely to notice someone standing unusually close. Third, be extremely cautious of anyone who approaches you at or near a cash machine offering to help, even if they seem friendly or claim to be a bank employee. Genuine bank staff do not stand outside ATMs offering assistance. If your card gets stuck or the machine behaves oddly, walk into the branch and speak to a real member of staff at the counter, or call your bank's official number. Never let a stranger touch your card or type anything on your behalf. Fourth, know your daily limit before you get to the machine. If you plan to withdraw a larger sum, for example, to pay a tradesperson, cover a big shop, or fund a holiday, call your bank in advance or visit a branch to arrange a temporary increase to your withdrawal limit. Most banks are happy to do this once they have verified it is genuinely you asking, and it avoids the frustration of standing at a machine that simply will not release the amount you need. Fifth, if you receive your state pension directly into your bank account, which the vast majority of pensioners do, remember that this money behaves exactly like any other funds in your account. There is no separate pension card and no separate pension withdrawal rule. The limits you experience at the ATM come from your account type and your bank's fraud settings, not from the Department for Work and Pensions. If you are ever told by someone that your pension itself has special withdrawal restrictions that require you to pay a fee or provide personal details to unlock, that is a scam. Full stop. It is also worth mentioning the alternatives now available if you are ever worried about carrying a physical card at all. Several major banks, including NatWest, RBS, and Barclays, now offer cardless cash services through their banking apps. This allows you to generate a short-term code on your phone, walk up to a compatible ATM, enter the code instead of inserting your card, and withdraw cash safely, even if you have left your card at home or are worried about card skimming. If you are comfortable using a smartphone, this is genuinely one of the safest ways to get cash in 2026, because there is no physical card for a skimming device to read. For those pensioners who are less confident with digital banking or simply prefer face-to-face service, remember that banks are legally expected to maintain reasonable access to cash for their customers, particularly following the rollout of banking hubs across the country. If your local bank branch has closed, check whether a banking hub or a post office counter service is available nearby, as both allow you to withdraw and deposit cash and speak to a real person, often with longer opening hours than a traditional branch used to offer. One final and very important point. If you ever feel pressured, rushed, or confused during a call, text, or visit related to withdrawing cash, stop what you are doing. Hang up the phone. Do not go to the ATM. Do not let anyone accompany you there. Genuine urgent situations from banks, the police, or government departments do not require you to withdraw cash on the spot and hand it over to anyone. Take your time, speak to a family member or a trusted friend, and contact your bank directly using the number on your card or statement. Scammers rely on urgency and fear to stop you from thinking clearly, and simply slowing down is one of the most powerful defenses you have. To sum everything up, your state pension is not subject to a special legal ATM limit, but your bank account almost certainly has a daily withdrawal cap, and banks are watching large or unusual withdrawals more closely than ever because of rising fraud targeting older customers. Protect your PIN, check machines for tampering, know your limits in advance, consider cardless options if you are comfortable with them, and never let anyone rush you into withdrawing cash you were not already planning to withdraw. These simple habits are the real difference between a smooth trip to the cash machine and becoming another statistic in this year's fraud reports. If this video helped you understand your rights and protect your money a little better, that is exactly why I make these videos. There are more videos on this channel covering state pension payment dates, benefit entitlements, and practical money-saving tips for retirement, so take a look through the channel when you get a moment. And if you found this useful, please do subscribe to my channel so you never miss the next video that could save you time, stress, or money.